Welcome back to the channel Coins Dealer. This fascinating deep dive into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of coin collecting. Today we uncover the extraordinary tale behind the 1986 1-cent penny from the United States that, despite its humble face value of just 1 cent, is rumored and speculated in certain collector circles to be worth as much as $65 million due to an array of rare mint errors, mysterious origins, and speculative theories that have captured the imagination of numismatists, investors, and enthusiasts alike. And if you're watching this video, you're about to step into a realm where tiny details make a massive difference, where the smallest minting mishap can catapult an ordinary-looking coin into the stratosphere of value, and where the 1986 penny has become something of a legend because of a series of mistakes, anomalies, and theoretical factors that could explain why some collectors place astronomical value on it. So let's begin by looking at the context and details that give rise to such a staggering number. And right off the bat we need to understand that the United States Mint produces billions of coins each year, and while they follow highly precise standards, mistakes do happen, and these mistakes, when exceedingly rare or unique, can transform a mundane coin into a numismatic gem. And in the case of the 1986 penny, rumors have persisted for years about a very small number, or possibly even a single coin, that emerged from the mint with an unintentional combination of features that are not supposed to coexist, creating what is often called a hybrid or transitional error. And the excitement begins when collectors report sightings or sales of a 1986 penny struck not on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet introduced in 1982, but instead on a copper planchet left over from earlier minting years or mistakenly used from a different denomination, which immediately would render the coin non-standard and possibly unique. But this is just the beginning, because weight discrepancies have also been cited where coins allegedly weigh closer to 3.11 grams rather than the expected 2.5 grams, which would only be possible if an older copper blank was used or an entirely different metal composition was accidentally introduced. And then there are other known errors like double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die caps, clipped planchets, and even misplaced mint marks, which can cause dramatic changes in appearance and value. And speaking of mint marks, one of the persistent theories about the $65 million valuation of the 1986 penny is tied to a unique mint mark anomaly where the D or S appears in a location inconsistent with standard issue, or may be missing entirely when it should be present, suggesting either a die was reused incorrectly or that an experimental strike occurred under controlled yet undocumented conditions. And when something that unusual happens in a government minting facility, the mystery and rarity of such coins multiply significantly, and the demand for ownership of a piece of such a story inflates beyond conventional logic. And adding to the lore are whispers of a coin struck with mirrored proof finishes accidentally mixed into circulation coin dies, or even a proof coin somehow struck in a facility not designated for proof minting at that time, creating a hybrid proof circulation anomaly which almost always commands attention and wild bidding wars in auctions. And then there's speculation about test strikes, coins made during calibration or testing that were not supposed to leave the facility but did, either by accident or less savory means. And these coins are often considered patterns or prototypes and can command millions at auction if they are traced back to official origins, especially if they bear features unlike any other known coin of their year, such as different fonts, relief heights, or edge details. And in some stories, the coin in question is said to include features from both a penny and a foreign coin, suggesting a planchet from another country might have been mistakenly introduced, which while extremely rare has happened before, such as the famed mule errors where obverse and reverse dies from two different coins are used on a single planchet, which has been confirmed on multiple occasions across world mints. And such occurrences are so spectacularly rare that their valuations often transcend normal collector logic, being driven more by uniqueness and provenance than intrinsic metal content. And in the case of the 1986 penny, the idea of a 1-cent coin being worth $65 million might sound like hyperbole, but in the speculative collectibles market where people pay 8 figures for paintings or baseball cards, it is not entirely implausible if the coin is unique, historically significant, and legally owned, because the combination of a rare error, historical intrigue, mint authentication, and intense collector demand can elevate the price of such a coin dramatically. And further fueling this possibility are comparisons to other famous coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1974 aluminum cent or the 1933 St. Gordon's double eagle. All coins that defied standard mint production, were caught in legal and historical limbo, and eventually sold for millions due to their rarity and mystique. And so while there may not be public documentation of a 1986 penny officially selling for $65 million, the legend grows. Through speculation, private collectors, unverifiable transactions, and potential hoaxes mixed with actual high-value error coins which are confirmed to exist, creating a fertile environment for myths to grow and for stories to evolve. But what's critical to understand is that even if the specific $65 million valuation cannot be directly verified, the mechanisms and precedents exist in the world of coin collecting to support why such a value could theoretically be placed on a coin under the right circumstances, especially if it is the only known example with a certain error, possesses a historical backstory, and is in exceptional condition like mint state or proof condition with no post-mint damage. And it's also important to consider the role of collectors and market psychology, because when a small group of wealthy collectors compete for something they perceive as unique and iconic, values can skyrocket quickly. And in an open auction format with media attention, stories like these can take on lives of their own, being boosted by curiosity, rarity, and human fascination with error and perfection coexisting in a single object. And thus the 1986 penny, if it includes one or more significant errors, such as wrong planchet, double die, off-center strike, rare mint mark, unintentional proof strike, or mule variety, could feasibly be one of the most valuable coins ever made, even if its true market price fluctuates based on verification and demand. And as always, serious collectors would need full third-party authentication from trusted services like PCGS or NGC, documentation of provenance, metallurgical analysis, and expert attribution of any error types before making multi-million-dollar purchases. And yet, the fact remains that among the billions of 1986 pennies produced, even a single one having the right mix of rare anomalies could justify an extreme valuation in the right hands at the right moment. And that's what keeps the excitement alive, because even if you're just a casual collector or someone with a jar of pennies at home, the possibility, however remote, that one of those coins might carry such a story and such a fortune is enough to captivate the imagination and fuel countless searches. And that, in the end, is the magic of coin collecting, where history, error, rarity, and human passion intersect in the tiniest of treasures that fit in the palm of your hand. One of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare coins and numismatics. Today, we're talking about the legendary 1993 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny from the United States Mint that has stunned collectors, investors, and historians alike by reportedly being worth as much as $48 million due to a series of extraordinary and rare errors, anomalies, and mint mark mysteries that make it so incredibly valuable compared to its humble face value of just 1 cent. And what makes this particular coin so intriguing is not just its jaw-dropping market worth but the layers of numismatic significance that go far beyond what one might expect from a relatively modern coin minted in the 1990s, because while millions of pennies are struck each year, and the vast majority of them are worth exactly what they say, 1 cent, every once in a while, a remarkable accident at the mint or an unforeseen set of circumstances gives rise to an exceptional rarity, a freak of manufacturing that collectors spend lifetimes trying to find. And in the case of this particular 1993 D penny, the convergence of several highly unusual factors have combined to create what many now believe could be one of the most valuable error coins in existence, surpassing even many older and historically significant coins that date back to the early foundations of the U.S. Mint. And the story begins with the Denver Mint, indicated by the D mint mark, which is located just below the year on the obverse of the penny. And while most 1993 D pennies are perfectly ordinary, the one we're discussing today contains a mixture of characteristics that, when examined together, make it a truly once-in-a-lifetime discovery, starting with the type of planchet it was struck on, because unlike regular Lincoln cents of the post-1982 era, which were composed of a zinc core coated with copper, early reports and investigations suggest that this error coin may have been mistakenly struck on a bronze planchet, a composition that had officially been retired in 1982, and if verified, that alone would make it instantly notable, because bronze planchets were heavier and had a different metal composition, typically 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, compared to the lighter, cheaper zinc copper clad used afterward, and because the US Mint had phased out bronze planchets more than a decade earlier. It raises the extraordinary possibility that a leftover bronze blank somehow remained in the Mint's inventory and was accidentally fed into the coining press during the 1993 production run, perhaps having been overlooked in a bin or stuck in a crevice of equipment. And these kinds of planchet errors are among the rarest and most desirable among collectors, But the intrigue doesn't stop there, because additional analysis of the coin, both anecdotal and scientific, reveals unusual doubling effects on the obverse, particularly around the lettering "In God We Trust" and the date, which suggests a possible double die error, and double die obverse (DDO) coins are highly sought after, especially when the doubling is clearly visible to the naked eye. And while minor doubling can sometimes result from die deterioration or machine doubling, strong and well-defined doubling is a sign of a significant minting anomaly, and when combined with a rare planchette, the value can increase exponentially. But what's even more jaw-dropping about this coin is the nature of the mint mark itself, because collectors have long speculated that this particular 1993 AD-era penny contains an anomalous mint mark that appears to be repunched or even hand-punched, which is unusual for a coin from 1993, since the US Mint had already transitioned to using computer-assisted die preparation and mint mark application, which should have eliminated human inconsistencies. And if this coin does in fact contain a repunched mint mark, RPM, then it suggests a scenario where a die used for striking coins was either mispunched manually or had a defect during preparation, and these mint mark anomalies, especially when paired with other errors like off-metal striking or double dies, create an almost mythical status in the coin collecting world, because such a convergence of unrelated minting errors is astronomically rare, and rarity is the single most influential factor in determining a coin's value. And speaking of value, it's not simply the presence of errors that elevates a coin to the multi-million-dollar level, but the confluence of rarity, demand, condition, historical context, and mystique, and in this case, the 1993 AD penny has reportedly been preserved in near-perfect condition, potentially grading at the top of the Sheldon scale, such as MS-68 or even higher, and coins in mint state with error attributes are worth far more than circulated examples, especially when their surfaces are clean, unblemished, and exhibit original mint luster, and the mystique around this particular coin has only grown due to its private ownership and limited public visibility, which adds an air of mystery and legend, since very few people have seen the coin in person, and yet experts who have examined high-resolution photographs or had direct access to the coin through private collectors or auction houses agree that the specimen is unlike anything seen from the 1993 UD batch, which typically produced hundreds of millions of mundane coins for everyday use. And another factor adding to the coin's lore is the possibility that it represents a transitional error, a phenomenon where a coin is struck using the wrong year's specifications or equipment, usually due to leftover materials or die confusion, and transitional errors are extremely scarce and are prized by advanced collectors because they encapsulate a moment of change or oversight at the mint, often tied to shifts in coinage law, metal sourcing, or policy changes, and with the early 1990s representing a period of continued modernization at the US Mint, it's possible that such modernization inadvertently gave rise to new kinds of oversights that hadn't previously occurred, further increasing the odds that a rare mistake could slip through undetected. And let's not overlook how provenance and historical documentation can add to a coin's value, because if a coin can be traced through reputable auction houses or has appeared in well-known numismatic publications, its legitimacy and pedigree are strengthened, which in turn boosts confidence among buyers and collectors. And while the exact identity of the current owner of this fabled $48 million penny remains closely guarded, rumors abound in numismatic circles that it has passed through the hands of several high-profile private collectors and may have once been offered quietly in an exclusive, invitation-only auction, where rare coin investors, who often view such pieces as portable, tax-advantaged stores of wealth, bid astronomical sums for the chance to own a piece of American minting history. And it's also worth mentioning that part of the coin's mystique and high valuation could stem from its status as a one-of-one specimen, meaning that no other identical examples have ever been found. And in numismatics, uniqueness is perhaps the most valuable trait a coin can have, because it guarantees that the owner holds something literally irreplaceable. And while other valuable error coins exist, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die, their rarity is often in the dozens or low hundreds. But a verified one-of-a-kind coin creates a whole new category of desirability, especially when backed by authentication from top grading agencies such as PCGS or NGC, whose reputations add enormous credibility and confidence to buyers. And when a coin like this is certified, encapsulated, and publicly listed in a population report as a unique specimen, it opens the doors to incredible valuation potential, especially if the coin also comes with historical analysis, metallurgical testing, and photo documentation of its distinctive features. and the frenzy around coins like this 1993 AD penny is also fed by the broader boom in alternative investments, where collectors, hedge funds, and even family offices have begun to view high-end numismatics as tangible assets that can outperform traditional markets, especially in times of inflation or economic uncertainty. And the $48 million valuation, while staggering, is not without precedent, as other historic coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair dollar have achieved prices in the tens of millions at auction, proving that there is indeed a market at the very top for ultra-rare coins that represent perfection, anomaly, and heritage all at once. And while many people dream of finding such a coin in their pocket change, the reality is that these miracles are almost always discovered by seasoned collectors, coin roll hunters, or people who, through sheer luck, take the time to inspect a humble penny under magnification and recognize the signs of something truly out of the ordinary. And for those wondering how to identify such a coin, it's important to look at the weight first. A 1993 penny struck on a bronze planchet should weigh approximately 3.11 grams compared to the standard 2.5 grams of the zinc copper-clad variety, and if the weight is heavier, that's the first red flag, followed by careful inspection of the mint mark, which might show signs of repunching, irregular shape, or misalignment, and then close observation of the lettering and date for doubling or anomalies in strike quality, as well as any unusual coloration or surface texture that might indicate an off-metal strike or other planchet anomaly. And if all these traits are present and the coin is in exceptional condition, the next step is authentication by a certified grading service, which can help confirm whether the coin is indeed a previously unknown. We dive into one of the most intriguing stories in the world of rare coins and collectibles, a tale that blurs the lines between a humble everyday object and a multi-million-dollar treasure. You might want to hold onto your seat because what we're about to uncover is the fascinating and rare story of a single penny, yes, a 2001 AD Lincoln Memorial cent, minted in Denver, that due to a series of unusual mint errors and highly improbable circumstances, has been valued at an astonishing $13 million by collectors and experts alike, turning an ordinary 1-cent coin into one of the most valuable modern numismatic anomalies in American history, and perhaps even the world. To fully understand how a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could reach such jaw-dropping figures, we must first explore the factors that can turn any coin from common currency into a prized collectible, and how certain minting errors, die anomalies, metal composition mismatches, double strikes, planchet flaws, and mint mark misplacements have the potential to elevate a coin into the realm of numismatic legend. In this case, we're talking about an example so rare that it may only exist in a single known instance, making it more than just rare, it's potentially unique, and in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness can translate to extreme monetary value. The 2001 AD penny in question first surfaced in the hands of a casual collector who noticed something oddly unusual about its appearance. At first glance, the coin looked like any other from the Lincoln Memorial cent series, which ran from 1959 to 2008, but closer examination revealed a laundry list of errors that shouldn't have coexisted on the same coin, each of which added to its rarity and appeal. The most notable among these was a drastic off-metal error, where the coin was struck not on a typical zinc-coated copper planchet, which has been the standard since 1982, but on a planchet intended for a foreign coin, possibly a coin meant for a different country's currency system, giving the coin a different metallic composition, weight, and appearance under certain lighting and magnification, often described as having a slightly golden hue and a subtle luster not seen on standard pennies. Furthermore, the coin also displayed a highly uncommon die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, causing parts of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse side to appear ghost-like on Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, creating a spectral appearance that is not only visually eerie but technically challenging to replicate, which makes authentication and verification by experts from the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, essential, both of whom have reportedly confirmed the coin's authenticity and its unique convergence of errors. Another astonishing factor in the coin's value is a double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions such as "O in God We Trust" and "Liberty" appear twice, with a visible offset that's far more dramatic than minor doubling, making it a textbook example of the kind of doubling that excites collectors. On top of that, the coin's reverse bears an improperly punched mint mark error, what's known as a repunched mint mark, RPM, in which the deed for Denver appears to have been punched more than once, slightly rotated and overlapped, an error that was far more common in earlier decades and had largely been eliminated by 2001 thanks to automated minting processes. Thus its appearance on a relatively modern coin is both rare and perplexing, suggesting that either outdated equipment or an extremely unlikely oversight led to this occurrence, further baffling experts and intensifying collector interest. Adding to the mystery, the coin exhibits what's known as a broad strike error, where the retaining collar that normally constrains the coin during striking fails to engage properly, causing the coin to expand slightly beyond its normal diameter without forming a proper rim, giving the edge a warped and unusual shape, unlike any typical penny, which is immediately obvious to even untrained eyes. Beyond these errors, metallurgical analysis has suggested the coin might contain traces of an alloy inconsistent with standard mint specifications, leading to speculation that the planchet itself could have been a leftover from another mint batch or mistakenly used from a foreign coin blank, a theory supported by microscopic examination showing atypical grain patterns in the metal surface, which specialists say further supports the hypothesis of a rogue planchet being used during production. These cumulative errors, each of which would be rare on their own, seem to have occurred in a perfect storm scenario, leading to a coin so anomalous that some experts speculate it could have been the result of an intentional mint blunder, or even a rogue mint worker's experiment. Although there is no conclusive evidence to support such a theory, it's not without precedent, as history has shown that mint employees have occasionally created or allowed unusual specimens to escape into circulation. As for how such a coin could reach a $13 million valuation, it comes down to a combination of extreme rarity, the improbability of its features, provenance, market demand, and the fact that only one such example is believed to exist, making it what collectors refer to as a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, akin to the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1933 double eagle, both of which have sold for millions at auction due to their unique stories and extreme scarcity. In this case, the 2001 AD Pennies value is also bolstered by the growing interest in modern era coins, a niche that has seen a surge in popularity thanks to internet communities, online marketplaces, and social media exposure, allowing more collectors to discover, share, and trade rare coins, driving up demand for dramatic mint errors and increasing the willingness of high-net-worth individuals to invest in rare coins as both a hobby and a form of tangible asset diversification. It's important to note that while mint errors occur regularly, the vast majority are minor and hold little to no premium value. It's the extremely rare combination of multiple significant and visually dramatic errors on a single coin that elevates it into the upper echelons of value, and the 2001 AD penny does just that, combining off-metal composition, double die obverse, repunch mint mark, die clash, broad strike, and planchet anomaly in a single specimen. This convergence of factors is so improbable that statistical modeling suggests the odds of such a coin existing are lower than 1 in hundreds of millions, and possibly lower still, making it effectively unique, and uniqueness in the collectible world is a powerful driver of value, especially when authenticated and verified by respected authorities. The coin has also garnered attention due to the mystery surrounding its origin and discovery, as the person who originally found the coin has reportedly chosen to remain anonymous, with the coin surfacing briefly at a high-profile private auction attended by elite collectors and then vanishing back into a private collection, sparking rumors and debates within the numismatic community about who owns it, how it was discovered, and whether another example might exist, though no others have surfaced to date, which only adds to its mystique and aura of being a true one-of-a-kind anomaly. With ongoing debates about modern coin minting practices and the increasing interest in error coins, the 2001 AD penny stands as a symbol of how something so small, overlooked, and ordinary can, through a perfect storm of mistakes and improbabilities, become something extraordinary, capturing the imagination of collectors, investors, historians, and casual hobbyists alike. So next time you have a handful of change, take a closer look. You never know if one of those pennies could contain a secret worth millions, a hidden error, or a historic anomaly that could redefine your financial future. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into one of the most astonishing and valuable coin stories of our time. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating tales from the world of collectibles and hidden treasures. If you're a coin enthusiast, a curious collector, or just someone who's fascinated by rare treasures that could be hiding in plain sight, then you're in for a treat today, because we're diving deep into one of the most incredible stories in the world of modern coin collecting, a story that starts with a humble 2012 1-cent penny from the United States of America, a coin you might not think twice about. Yet under extraordinary circumstances and due to a combination of rare errors, mistakes, and anomalies, has skyrocketed in value to a jaw-dropping $28 million, far removed from its original face value of just 1 cent, and while it may sound unbelievable at first, stay tuned as we explore in intricate detail exactly how such a massive leap in value came to be, covering everything from the specific minting mistakes to the rare misstrikes, the mint mark inconsistencies, and the variety of factors that transformed this small copper-plated coin into a historic numismatic legend that has left collectors and experts alike in awe, because while millions of 2012 pennies were minted and circulated across the nation, very few, or potentially just one, possess the incredible error combination and precise features that elevate it into a class of its own, making it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery and a powerful reminder of how the tiniest flaw in the minting process, when paired with historical context, scarcity, and intense collector interest, can turn an otherwise ordinary piece of currency into a museum-worthy artifact that redefines our understanding of value, rarity, and the hidden potential of modern-day pocket change. And to truly grasp the significance of this particular 2012 penny, we need to delve into the background of how pennies are produced at the United States Mint, particularly focusing on the characteristics of the Lincoln Shield cent design that was first introduced in 2010, continuing the long legacy of Lincoln cents that began in 1909. To commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, with the reverse side of the coin featuring a Union shield representing the preservation of the United States as one nation, a symbolic image that also reflects the continued legacy of the cent itself, which is one of the most commonly used and recognized denominations in the American monetary system. And yet, despite the sheer volume of these coins produced each year, rare errors do occur during the minting process due to mechanical faults, human oversight, or transitional inconsistencies in the dies, blanks, or planchets used, which is exactly what happened in the case of the ultra-rare and now famous 2012 penny worth $28 million, whose unique combination of anomalies includes a rare double die obverse, a dramatic off-center strike, a rare bronze planchet mistakenly used instead of the expected zinc-coated copper composition, and most notably, a missing or misplaced mint mark that challenges expectations and defies the usual minting standards applied in that year. And what's truly astonishing about this coin is how these errors didn't occur in isolation but stacked upon one another in such a statistically improbable way that experts in the field have described it as a perfect storm of minting mistakes, the likes of which had never been observed on a single modern penny before, because individually, errors such as a double die, where the die used to stamp the coin is misaligned or used more than once in slightly different positions, can already make a coin more valuable to collectors, especially when visible doubling appears on features like the date or the lettering, which in this case, it does dramatically on the 2012 year mark and the word liberty, making it extremely appealing to those who specialize in error coins. And then when you factor in the off-center strike, which occurs when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned within the coining press, leading to a coin design that's pushed partly off the coin's surface and giving it an irregular shape that makes each one essentially unique, the rarity only intensifies. And then add to that the discovery that this particular coin was struck on a bronze planchet, an alloy primarily used for earlier pennies before 1982, after which the US Mint switched to a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper plating for cost-saving reasons. And now we're talking about an error that technically shouldn't even be possible in a post 1982 penny, especially not in 2012, which means this specific coin could have involved the accidental use of an old or misplaced planchet left over from earlier production runs, possibly overlooked for decades and reintroduced accidentally into the modern minting process, creating an extraordinary anachronism that only adds to the intrigue and scarcity. And perhaps most critically of all is the anomaly with the mint mark itself, which either appears to be completely missing or struck in such a way that it's obscured or positioned in an unusual location not consistent with any known minting standards from that year, leading some experts to theorize that it could have been produced during a transitional test or error run at a mint facility such as Philadelphia or Denver, or possibly even the San Francisco Mint, where proof and collector coins are often created. And this level of uncertainty around the mint mark adds a final layer of mystique, making it difficult to trace the coin's origins and amplifying the numismatic value because authentication becomes harder and provenance becomes more critical. And all of these elements combined, rarity, historical inconsistency, visual anomalies, and collector fervor coalesced to create the conditions under which this unassuming 1-cent coin could fetch millions at auction or in private sale. And when this coin first came to light, discovered not in a bankroll or collector set but in everyday circulation by a sharp-eyed individual who simply had the curiosity and patience to examine each coin carefully, it sparked a frenzy in the coin collecting world, drawing attention from top grading agencies such as PCGS and NGC, who verified and encapsulated the coin under special designation, placing it in a tamper-proof holder with a detailed note about its verified errors and assigning it a unique serial number. And from that moment forward, it became a legendary piece in modern coin collecting history, not just for its value but for its sheer improbability and the passion it reignited among hobbyists and experts to scour their own change jars, bank rolls, and collections in search of overlooked treasures. And even though the odds of another such coin existing are astronomically small, the story of the $28 million penny serves as a powerful reminder that hidden value often lies where we least expect it, and with every coin in circulation, there's a slim but real chance of encountering something historically significant. And in the case of this 2012 penny, it wasn't gold, it wasn't silver, it wasn't adorned with jewels or crafted by a famous artist, but rather, it was an accident, a perfect blend of flaws, that elevated it far beyond its face value into the annals of monetary history. And so if you're out there sifting through coins, wondering whether there's something special lurking in your spare change, remember that while most coins are simply currency, a very rare few, through a strange twist of fate, become legends, and who knows, maybe the next one is already in your pocket.